Scott Welch, Muscle Insider Magazine. I have got two very important guests today, very special guests. Raza Basher, Vice President of Innovation and Scientific Affairs over at Iovate/Muscle Tech, and Sean Wells, NNB Nutrition and Genius Ingredients. He has been with us a number of times here. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, amazing.
Doing great.
Okay, so you've got some interesting ingredients as always, Sean, and I want to get really into this. Is paraxanthine. I mean, this is the latest, coolest stuff. I read a bit about it online in the past and sort of been seeing it sort of under the ground. But let's just start off by just talking a bit about caffeine, and what are the benefits of caffeine to, the workout enthusiast, the guy, girl hitting the gym, et cetera, et cetera.
It is the most important ingredient to me in human history. Maybe an argument could be made also for ethanol alcohol in terms of its impact on society. But when you talk about caffeine, and you look at Michael Pollan did a wonderful book on caffeine, specifically on the history and on the impact, we wouldn't have the Industrial Revolution, the Industrial Age, and therefore the massive boom to the economy globally and production. We wouldn't have the third shift. We wouldn't have the British Stock Exchange. Like there's so much that shifted, and people were drinking throughout the day, especially in Europe. And when things shifted to coffee, when that was actually accepted by the Pope, interestingly, there's so much to this that when coffee was accepted, the amount of work and productivity shifted massively. Fast forward to today, and you think about the Monsters, the Red Bulls, the Starbucks, the coffee shops. This is a reason, one, why we're productive. Two, it's anchored into our everyday ritual. And it's so important. When you see these people lined up at a Starbucks, you know how important that ritual is. We literally can't get going without it. And it's a reason that we meet, we come together, we connect, we work together. You have to have coffee, tea, energy drinks, or whatever, right? It's so important to our society. It's so omnipresent when you go to a gas station, when you go to, again, a coffee shop, wherever. Like, these things are so important to us and how we get about our day. And when we look at, with athletes, the impact ergogenically, meaning enhancing performance, it's the most studied ingredient when we look at these ingredients affecting athletic performance. So, there is significant data around that. We're now starting to delineate that data into different bio-individualities and different genetics, if you will. And that's eliciting some interesting points that's helped me and my team drill into this and look for what could be a evolution of caffeine. And that's where we're at currently. But caffeine has served us incredibly well. And to deny its importance to society, to deny its impact, to deny its efficacy is crazy. There's nothing like it in terms of our human history. We all need it, have it, use it, but is there an evolution? Is there a potentially better solution is what I was looking for.
Now, you're no stranger to stimulants and discovering them. I mean, I followed your career for some time and looking at things like teacrine and dynamine, and these are at the heart of a lot of the top pre-workouts in the market. So, when you threw it down and said that you had discovered something beyond caffeine, Raza, you must have been totally blown away, because I know I was.
Oh yeah. We're always looking to be on the leading edge, find something new, and, partnering with Sean Wells and the team, we knew there was going to be something special that we could do together.
Amazing. Now, let me take it back now, Sean. How did you go about the discovery of paraxanthine? Where did this sort of start? What's the process that you kind of went through in discovering this?
So as you pointed out, one, I have never dealt personally well with caffeine. I'm one of those people, the slow metabolizers that's had the side effects. I've had a lot of issues with energy. That's the name of my book, The Energy Formula. Like I literally was in bed for 6 months when I had Epstein-Barr, and I've struggled at many points in my life with making enough cellular energy. I was one of these insufficient cellular energy sufferers. And, I know what that feels like. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are in that situation, that, have chronic fatigue syndrome, that have something like Epstein-Barr, that have fibromyalgia, that have hypertonic muscles, that, are suffering with that insufficient cellular energy. And so that led me originally to look into alternate solutions for energy that weren't hyper stimulating. I used to use ephedrine, I used to use DMAA, but it took its toll on me physiologically. And that's when I started looking into initially theocrine, which we ended up calling T-crine, and working with Dr. Hector Lopez and Dr. Tim Ziegenfuss. That turned out to be incredible. That led us down a path of looking at liberine and methylliberine. Methylliberine was dynamine.
Mm-hmm.
And these are other methylxanthines. So they're in that family of caffeine, theobromine, theophylline, etc. And theocrine and dynamine have done incredibly well, as you stated. Like they're in practically every nootropic fat burner pre-workout on the market. But they had some downsides in that they were very difficult to flavor, number one, and costly. And that's just a reality of what those ingredients are. And that took a lot of work to figure out. But that also led me to go back to caffeine and see if there was anything else there. And looking at the metabolism of caffeine, I looked at the one ingredient, theobromine on the market for some time. Theophylline is actually a controlled substance, a pharmaceutical that's used in like bronchodilators, for example. But paraxanthine was not a dietary supplement for whatever reason. And I started looking into it and saw that it occurs naturally. And I found about 5 different natural sources, including cacao and some tea sources. And then I saw that like the benefits were purported to be like largely of what you get from caffeine, meaning the nootropic benefit, the mood lift, the ergogenic benefit is almost entirely due to paraxanthine. I do think that a lot of people just assumed that because 80% or so of caffeine converts to paraxanthine, that maybe there's no real benefit. But the more I explored this, and then certainly had my partner, Kai Lin in China, help me make this. And when I tried it myself, I was like, wow, this is night and day. And that's when I brought on Dr. Ralph Yeager, Dr. Martin Purpura. We're like, let's start digging into this. Let's start doing studies. Let's file intellectual property. Let's get GRAS, which is generally recognized as safe, so that this can be used in food and beverage. Like, let's do all this work because this could be amazing. Caffeine is a $1 trillion market. And this ingredient bests it in every way that we've studied. I can get into those, but it's stunning. Like it's not even coming up, pretty well in some categories. In every single category, it bests caffeine. So the more we research, the more excited we get. It's getting crazy. We're like, how much money can we throw at this thing? Because we need to like study everything and anything. And I think Raza can tell you, like, just everyone that tries it is like, pulling a, my precious on this, and is like, I need more. Please send me more. It's just, It's funny that we're all turning into golems on infinity is now what we call paraxanthine, but it's an incredible molecule, and really it's what caffeine is all about. For those of you that are fast metabolizers, for those of you that are seeing all of the benefits, I think a lot of us just rely upon it because of its omnipresence, because of its availability, and we see some benefit. But I don't think that most people, and I can get into that data too, are seeing all of the benefit. And this is like the full unlock of the ingredient that you've never truly experienced.
So caffeine would convert into this for those at home, that this
Correct.
is something that caffeine in your body, you swallow it and it converts to three different things. And this is one of those downstream metabolites. Now, in terms of someone going to the gym and taking that, what are they going to experience when they take this and they go, say they're training chest or they're training arms or they're doing cardio or they're, about to play football? What does it do to the athlete that takes this?
So it's going to be, just like caffeine's been shown to do. And when I say this, caffeine has been shown to do these things, but it really, again, was paraxanthine that was doing these things because people took caffeine orally as humans.
Yeah.
So when I say caffeine's done this, caffeine inhibits adenosine, and that promotes wakefulness. And interestingly, in an animal study, this actually outperformed even modafinil, which is, I don't want to make comparisons to that or dive too far into that. We are talking humans, but when it comes to wakefulness, this is really effective. But what we don't see, like caffeine, we don't see that crash because of all the different aspects of metabolism. Not only with the CYP1A2, which one study shows us, a pretty robust study shows us that about 59% of the population is a slow metabolizer. Add to that, some people are another gene, ADORA, and then add to that, some people have sensitivities to things like insomnia, tachycardia, which is a rapid heart rate, or, anxiety, and so like even small changes to a fast metabolizer could exacerbate those sensitivities. So when we add all this up, it may be 75% of the population is not experiencing caffeine as well as would be liked. And so when we, talk about paraxanthine, now called Infinity, they get to experience the wakefulness one, but then we're also seeing mood lift. It has a dramatic effect on dopamine. It's highly dopaminergic. And so what does that mean? It means this neurotransmitter is associated with focus, with this reward center. So like a level of satisfaction, but also confidence and swagger. It's literally, we filed a patent around swagger because that word kept coming up so much. People are like saying like, I don't know, I just have this flow, this feeling like this, I just feel good, and when we're looking at our animal data, we're seeing all kinds of additional things. We're seeing BDNF increased, which is brain derived neurotrophic factor, which is neuroplasticity. This is like the fountain of youth for the brain, so to speak. Like the more neuroplastic the brain is, the more resilient the brain is, the more it can learn new tasks, the more it can take on new things, including heavier weights or more complex workouts, or learning how to dunk the basketball off of one foot and do a reverse. It's like how to move your body in space, the proprioception. And all of that requires that neuroplasticity. And then we also see that it decreases amyloid plaque, which is associated with, Alzheimer's and aging of the brain and neurodegeneration, and of which the dopamine is highly protective of that neurodegeneration. So very important with brain and aging. We're also seeing serotonin increased, We're seeing increased nitric oxide to the brain via PDE9 inhibition. We're seeing increased glutathione and catalase, which are the master antioxidants, the most key antioxidants, and we see reduced oxidative stress. So what I'm seeing is we're getting people experiencing not only this wakefulness and energy, but they're getting the mood lift, and then they're not experiencing the crash, and they're feeling good as a result after, because their body's optimized in this kind of afterglow period where they're enhanced and it's not coming at a cost. Even further, I'm getting feedback with HRV and people that are wearing wearables that not only are they not getting a negative impact on sleep like caffeine and other stimulants can have, but they're improving sleep quality.
Wow.
They're using paraxanthine. So this is like really exciting stuff that we're seeing. And, again, we have several studies that are underway. Like, I can't mention all the details. Some of them have been opened, and I've seen some of the data, and we're filing patents around, but there's a fat loss study coming. There is a e-gaming study coming that revolves around mental endurance and focus. And all I can say is the data on both is really awesome. So I'm super excited about both of those. When you compare them to caffeine or placebo, the data is stunning.
Now, Sean, would you say that, with pre-workouts, we obviously have seen a huge category, Raza and I, of with stim-free pre-workouts and people that want to take a pre-workout, but they don't want to keep them up at night. Like if you're doing shift work, sometimes a pre-workout is something you really want that benefit, but you don't want this disrupting your sleep. Are you saying that paraxanthine included into a pre-workout could maybe help prevent some of that wakefulness that happens, or that crash post-workout, that if you take it at night? Or is there sort of enough data to sort of conclude that?
Totally. Exactly. So those people in particular that are the slow metabolizers, in particular with the CYP1A2, those are the ones that they're stuck metabolizing caffeine for hours and hours and hours. And this is the difference. Like, yes, there's a potentially 80% conversion to paraxanthine, but the question is, how long does that take to get there? So you may be experiencing some of these side effects for a long time and very little benefit of getting to the paraxanthine because it's happening so slow. Like, you're at kind of a drip rate versus a full blast, faucet rate. So that's the difference there. And the more quickly you can get into that zone, we see that paraxanthine infinity lasts about 4 hours or so. So like with a workout, like after that's gone, like we're not seeing it impair sleep quality or quantity. We're actually seeing it improve it. That's what's like really stunning here. So it's really exciting that when you're not in this negative metabolism and you're getting all these enhanced benefits that you don't get from caffeine, you add those up and people are getting better workouts and better sleep. And it really is possible. This is like the idea with like adaptogens that are called bimodal, because you're getting improved sleep and improved focus and energy during the day. And it seems like, that's impossible. It's not. Bimodal means, like with adaptogens, for example, that you're helping the body to be more optimized. And when the body's more optimized, it's more resilient to stress, and it can sleep better and focus better. So this is the idea, like, that we're seeing with paraxanthine as well. And it holds up with all these, amazing health benefits that we're seeing that are truly anti-aging and optimizing.
So we talk about, obviously, training better, training harder, training longer, being able to have mental focus. Perhaps this is going to help with more concentration, because, as you know, when you're training hard and you're at the end of that long set and the lactic acid is hitting in, or you're climbing up the wall, you really need to have that mental focus to be able to push your muscle performance even further. What about fat loss? So you touched on that. There's a clinical now underway for fat loss, but if I'm somebody looking to lose fat, do you think it has a role in fat loss?
So absolutely, and Raza knows the study with caffeine, and we really mimic that study, working with Muscle Tech Iovate specifically to create this study and the parameters for it. I will tell you that caffeine is well established as an ingredient, at fat loss, at enhancing the lipolysis and thermogenesis, meaning the breakdown of fat and the enhanced caloric expenditure, the heat, increased heat of thermogenesis that you're seeing with caffeine. Again, we're seeing, and I'll hold the specifics on this, but we're seeing that it outperforms caffeine thus far. So, that's exciting, like really, really exciting. So, but it's no surprise to me, especially when you see that much of caffeine's benefits are really attributed to paraxanthine, and you remove the potential metabolism issues of caffeine, and then you have all these enhanced benefits that caffeine didn't seem to have, regardless of whether it's caffeine directly or indirectly converting to paraxanthine. We were never seeing some of these benefits, so that's really interesting what we're seeing here.
Now, in terms of, I mean, you touched on fast metabolizers, slow metabolizers of caffeine. Can you just give us a soundbite a bit on that? Like, what the heck is a fast metabolism of caffeine versus a slow metabolism of caffeine?
Yeah, I mean, it has to do with the way we metabolize these compounds. For example, like with the liver in particular, with like cytochrome P450. So it's just breaking these down. And so caffeine is 1,3,7 trimethylxanthine. And that sounds crazy. It sounds, maybe people don't know this stuff, but let's say this is like I was mentioning, these class of stimulants are known as methylxanthines. And paraxanthine, theobromine, theophylline are all dimethylxanthines, meaning a methyl group gets removed. And so this demethylation process is part of what we're talking about. So how quickly can a methyl group get removed? And where it gets removed dictates whether it's theobromine, theophylline, or paraxanthine. And what we're seeing is theobromine really doesn't have much physiologic impact. Maybe there's some decent nootropic effects at kind of a higher dose. It may mix well with other things, but we're not seeing it like be profoundly impactful. Theophylline is very impactful, but may have like a dirtiness to it, let's say, a lot of side effects. It's a bronchodilator. It can be very hard physiologically. And what we're seeing is paraxanthine has this really clean effect, and caffeine may not be so clean itself. So when we look at like the totality of this, it's like when you're a slow metabolizer, it has to do with specifically looking at the CYP1A2, gene specifically, and the enzyme, is that, are you converting caffeine to paraxanthine or its other metabolites? And if you're a fast metabolizer, you're doing that well. If you're a slow metabolizer, you're stuck. And you're stuck for a long time, which means you're seeing more side effects than benefits, because the benefits are paraxanthine, and potentially the side effects are with caffeine. Now, if you're a fast metabolizer, you may be getting a lot of those benefits. Again, interestingly, we're seeing benefits above and beyond, even with fast metabolizers, when you just go directly to paraxanthine. And maybe some of that's avoiding theobromine, theophylline, their metabolites. There's a lot of like metabolism that's going on that's on several levels. It's not just caffeine to paraxanthine. It's all of their metabolites and their metabolites.
I see.
So there's a lot to this, that it's not as straightforward as caffeine converting to paraxanthine. But what I can tell you is the experience across the board, certainly if you're a slow metabolizer, you're loving this. This is like a whole new experience you've never had. And if you're a fast metabolizer, you're seeing benefits above and beyond that you'll welcome.
So we're going to sort of see that once this starts to go into products, perhaps we might finally get people to be loyal to one great pre-workout, because, you know, obviously the supplement junkies are constantly from this pre-workout to that pre-workout to kind of looking at it. But maybe it's that the genetic variance is so high that they're not getting the same as maybe their friend is getting genetically from using the same pre-workout because of the way they metabolize the caffeine.
That's a great point. Bioindividuality, you're like, yeah, why is this? And for those of you that have had, a double espresso and, or a monster, and you're like, your friends are just pounding them like crazy and they're like loving it. And you're just like, I don't know, I just feel brain fog and I feel like edgy, agitated. Like, so for you, like that, like this is going to be like a whole new day, like a whole new experience that's exciting. And I'm excited for people to try this. And it brings up a good point about, we've actually studied caffeine in concert with Paraxanthine Infinity. And we saw that there was no enhanced benefit. And in a number of categories, there was actually declination in performance or focus or endurance. So we're recommending that whenever Infinity, which is the brand name for Paraxanthine, is being used, that it is used without caffeine. And that's how we're formulating it with MuscleTech hydroxycut iovate.
Amazing. Now, I mean, obviously, Raza, MuscleTech obviously has been the leader. I've got this one here.
Hey,
hydroxycut.
hey.
Sean, you grew up on this stuff, so did I. But I mean, this must be super exciting to sort of you guys. I mean, 1995, this product dropped, became the #1 selling diet pill brand for 20 years straight. This is hydroxycut brand is second to none. And then later on, we saw Nano Vapor just crush it at GNC US when Iovate threw their hat in the ring in the pre-workout area. But this must be really exciting for you to sort of, as the head of formulations, have a alternative to a more pure, more powerful form of caffeine.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we've been launching, pre-workouts, weight loss products with the most leading edge ingredients, but I think there hasn't been anything as groundbreaking as this. And I've tried it all. I've tried every single ingredient, as many ingredients that have come, along the way that either worked really well or became banned. And, when I first got the call, when I first heard about this ingredient, I was like, I mean, this is brilliant, right? When you think about the mechanism, the pharmacokinetics, it's like, this is unbelievable. I can't wait to try it. And the first thing you want to do is like, I got to try this. I got to see if this is going to deliver on everything that, the team thinks. And when I first tried it, I was completely blown away, because I'm personally, I'm a slow metabolizer of caffeine. So I'm watching the clock, right? And even when I'm recommending pre-workouts, when I'm recommending thermogenics, our products, you do need to be careful when you're taking it, right? You will get amazing results. But again, we didn't know as much about the slow and the fast metabolizers at the time, right? The data has just been, coming out, and, Sean and the team, which one thing I love is how much their resources they're putting into the research behind this to help us understand, because that's what elevates our entire industry. So once I got my hands on it, I tried it. I absolutely knew something was there. In fact, it was game changing for me. And we had to incorporate it. Right, we had to partner, and I'm thrilled we're able to partner in an exclusive way to launch this. And we were really trying to figure out the perfect combination of ingredients to include it with it. And I think when I look at the science and just understanding that variability, I mean, Sean just hit us well with so much knowledge. But when you look at that variability from 1.5 hours up to potentially 10 plus hours on people, there's a lot of people that are benefiting from products, but there's also that subsection of people that aren't. And I mean, we want everybody to benefit, right? We want people to get their hands on the most efficacious ingredients that are going to provide them the results. And, you know, what I can say about this from seeing the data, from trying it, it's essentially, it's unleashing your genetic potential. It's allowing your biology to work for you in many ways, so everybody can get results. So we are thrilled, and I think, we're going to launch the most innovative products that our industry has seen.
Yeah, Sean, I had first heard about this from you. We talked at Supply Side West last year, and I just couldn't believe that no one had discovered this before. I was like, man, this is from caffeine's there, and then it becomes these three things, and there's this one thing that, and I was like, how did no one think of doing this? Like,
I have come up with it so many times in my life, Scott, that I'm just like, no way. But it's like, this is, how Beba is, this is how theacrine and methylibrin, like, I just like kept being like, no way. Like, but this is where I'm at. And, I mean, part of it is, look, to be honest, Scott, like, I have a team of some of the most brilliant people in the world. And, my one partner, Kylin, has a 400,000 square foot facility with 100 scientists, been in the industry for years, one of the top raw material manufacturers in the world, GMP. And then Dr. Ralph Yeager, Dr. Martin Purpura, brilliant. They've been in this industry for 20 years. They know how to file intellectual property. They have the highest reputation as scientists. Like these are two German guys that will not cut corners, period. And it sometimes drives me insane, but they are amazing. Like, I mean, when it comes to like the highest level of integrity, like they are like I am with formulations. Like when it just comes to like, no, we'll take another 3 months to get this like T crossed, and this I dotted. Like, I mean, that's the way they work, and their reputation is stunning. And so to work with this team, and then the funding that goes into it. I mean, we've been working on this ingredients. Kylin and I have started working on this maybe 7 years ago, and with Ralph and Martin 3-4 years ago, we started down this path, and millions have gone into it. So several $1 million. And so that's part of this. There's a lot to it, and you need to file the intellectual property. You need to do the studies. You need to have grass, and there's a lot to it. And then finding a great partner like Iovate with Muscle Tech and Hydroxycut is, part of this too. Like we look to, partner with someone who has a great reputation that we can launch this with together, that has a history of doing great research, great ingredients, built-in audience, is science forward. All of that was extremely important.
That was one of the things I wanted to touch on. And Raza, please jump in at any time on this one, because I don't want to speak too far on behalf of Iovate, but you had talked to me, Sean, about that you didn't want this in the hands of the wrong company, that this is a real innovative ingredient, and you didn't want to see the whole thing that happened with DMAA, where people just start arbitrarily adding it to things and not kind of considering the totality of a formula, where these things have different interactions in the body. And it wasn't just about adding a whole whack of stems. And as you said, research has shown that adding caffeine to this does not improve it further. But why did you choose Iovate? I mean, obviously, you mentioned some of the things, because you could have went to any company with this.
Massive company, great reputation, like you just showed. I mean, been around. I've been in this industry 25 years, and I've watched all these ingredients come out. Dr. Marv was the reason I got into this. We talked about this, Scott. Like, literally, I'm not exaggerating. Like there was a time when I was in college flipping through magazines, and I saw this guy with a lab coat, and he was a formulator, and I was like, as marketing as that was or whatever, like I was just like, I want to do that. Yeah. And it made me believe that I could do that. And I became one of the most well-known people doing this in what is like the most niche thing. Like me being a famous actor is probably more probable than what I've become. Like it's so niche, and it's amazing. So I'm thankful to Muscle Tech and to Marv, and then I built a great relationship with Raza as well, and watch the, like, under Raza, like the company get more and more honed in on the science, and being full disclosure, which is extremely important. I talk about that constantly. I don't work with a company that doesn't have that full transparency, full disclosure. And Iovate is getting the studies, and they're, when I talking to them, they're wanting the science to be forward. They're wanting that, not just full disclosure on the label, like full disclosure across the board. They want people to have a great experience. And then lastly, when I was talking to Raza, he was like a big fan of the ingredient. Like he was like using it every day. He's like, matter of fact, like his team said, I was like, what do you guys think about it? And they're like, we can't get it. Like he hoards it. Because he was like using it every day. At that point, we didn't have a whole lot, so it was tough to get. But that's a big part of it too. Like, I formulate products that I use every day. I believe in. I won't do anything less than that. And I get that same sense from Raza and the team, like that it matters. Like this is legacy, that this ingredient is my legacy. And we're looking at it like, for those of us that have kids on the team, like this will be like the ingredient that our kids will be, working around and selling. And this is truly legacy. This is going to, like I said, caffeine has reshaped society, that this ingredient will reshape society. And I believe like Iovate is reshaping how sports nutrition is perceived in terms of efficacious supplements that aren't as extreme or dangerous, or proprietary blended, or inefficacious, or whatever it is. Like the reputation was over the last 20 some years, that's all evolved to be very straightforward, experiential, study backed, and taste great from a great company, people that believe in it. Here you go. And so that's what we wanted to align with. They share the same mission, vision, and values as we do.
Yeah. Raza, can you touch on the importance of research to Muscle Tech research and development? I mean, it's right in the company name.
For sure. I mean, research, science, I mean, we've been a science-led company. It's in our DNA. That's something that's really important to us, right? Before we incorporate an ingredient, we want to, we're thinking about efficacy, we're thinking about safety, we're thinking about the purity, right? The purity and the overall potency of the ingredient, and the body of research, knowing that people are going to get results. So, for an ingredient like Infinity and the type of ingredients that we use, one, once we understand how it works, then we see the literature, and then you see the literature evolve, right? For an emerging ingredient like this, there was so much, that was happening. And, I think I got pulled. In fact, I didn't realize it goes back 7 years. I think about 3 to 4 years, when I kind of got to learn about it, start trying it and experiencing with it. But, that's the next step, right? Because I think, success leaves clues. You got to look at the science, but then you have to try it. You have to try it and then combine it with different ingredients. And that's something that, we're really focused on. So, we're consistently year over year, always investing in research, finding research-backed partners that are, have those same type of values, that are willing to also invest, right? Invest in the ingredient, invest in science, so they can help, elevate, performance and the knowledge in the industry.
Now, in terms of the products, obviously, we're touching on pre-workouts, and obviously I have got myself samples here. This one is empty, of course, because I've used it.
I just drank one, by the way.
What are we looking at in terms of products that we can expect to see Paraxanthine in under the Muscle Tech brand?
Sure. So, I mean, with something this special, we've got a pretty large pipeline of products coming out. We are going to be starting with a pre-workout. as well. So pre-workout is going to come out in September, mid-September. Three flavors, as well as a thermogenic powder and pill. So I took the pill before this, feeling great. Yeah, so both those are coming out mid-September. And the way we crafted these, so they are, powered by infinity, right? So paraxanthine was the key. There's going to be absolutely no caffeine. In fact, even in our thermogenic, we've got 2 human clinical studies on a decaffeinated source of green coffee, right? So like even that level of detail that, Sean and the team and I discussed was really important. But at the same time, the way we put these together was thinking about, for example, with the burn product, right? We were thinking about lipolysis, right? So naturally you start to think of, we're thinking about the thermal effect. You are thinking about catecholamine activation. You're thinking about impact on insulin. So when we looked at these ingredients, we're looking at what could be complementary so people can get the, the best results. We did combine this with another exclusive ingredient that we got in here, which is a really novel form of capsaicin. It's a phenylcapsaicin source that is about, I think it's nearly 8 times more bioavailable than standard capsaicin. And I mean, the results that we were experiencing as we put it together were literally, it was unlike any type of sensory experience that people have
It's
felt.
crazy. Can I just tell you quickly, like, and I
Go
just
for it.
experienced it again, Raza. I told you this when I was in-house in Toronto, but I just experienced it again. When I have this stuff, I literally get like a tingling, like a paresthesis in my face.
Yeah.
And I feel like within seconds of like consuming it, there's some kind of like sublingual thing happening here. And this stuff is next level. Like I feel warm. I won't tell you the name of the product yet. I don't think we're saying that yet, but maybe it's up to you, Rasa. But I had the sample of that, and I am feeling the warmth, I will say,
Yeah.
from this product. It's awesome. It really works.
Absolutely. So people are definitely gonna feel the burn. And the one thing that you made me think about is, and what we were trying to do was that, that early onset, that quick onset of results. But like if you think of people who consume caffeine, I mean, sometimes they're willing to, almost burn their throats because they can't wait to get that that source of some energy. So we've been able to, recreate that, not that type of burn, but recreate the early onset of results in both the pill and powder. That you really have to try to experience everything that Sean's talking about. But we're really excited about this. And then on the pre-workout front, there's a lot more engineering that even goes into that to some degree, because you've got to think about, we're thinking about muscle endurance, we're thinking about muscle strength, but then we're also thinking about that overall, CNS, central nervous system activation that you get from, infinity paraxanthine. And we wanted to really complement it. So it's finding the perfect combination of ingredients. So similarly, ingredients that are going to be, acetylcholine precursors, are going to act on, when Sean was talking about neuroplasticity, that brain-derived neurotrophic factor, as well as, other sort of dopaminergic, serotonergic ingredients. So bring that all together to really have a complementary experience that is more powerful, really is more powerful than any other pre-workout that we've ever created. So again, we're really thrilled to get that one out there. We've got three flavors in the pipeline in the pre-workout. So we've got our watermelon candy. We've got a icy snow cone. And then on the burn product, we got a sweet heat. The sweet heat. I don't know which one you tried today, Sean, but there's the sweet heat.
The sweet heat was the one
That
I
was
had.
the one. Good stuff. Okay, so that's
and the snow cone is my favorite for sure. That like Astro Pop kind of taste is really good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say that's probably my favorite. I forgot to mention the yuzu on the pre-workout as well.
Yep.
That's
Yuzu
something.
lemonade.
The yuzu lemonade. That, I mean, we've been hearing just a lot of buzz, in terms of people looking as being a sought after flavor, but we thought it really complemented the base for sure as well.
Now, Russ, before we get into this further, I mean, we can talk ingredients all day in combination, but when I was at your facility and I saw that you were not, I mean, we've all had pre-workouts where you open it up and it's got clumps and it looks like meatballs, and you talk to retailers and they just assume that, products are just going to clump, but you guys take the extra measures of doing stability testing in-house and in flavoring in-house. Take me through a little bit about that side, because when we talk quality of the interactions of ingredients, we also have to talk about the quality of the substances and making sure that the product is usable and you don't have to put it in the coffee grinder in order to use it, and that retailers carrying it, companies like GNC, can be assured that this is a product that is not going to clump. Take me through a bit of your quality control at Iovate.
Yeah, so I mean, delivering on quality is one of the most important things that you can do in our space, and we take that really seriously. So, that overall craftsmanship, that type of quality control, we're extremely hands-on. So, we've got my R&D and quality team, we're all in-house. All the formulating is done in-house. The quality assessments are in-house, and when you're working on something this important, it's definitely necessary to have that level of detail, that level of excellence. So what we do is we still partner with great partners and flavor houses. But what we do is we literally bring the samples here in this lab, and the team will optimize the flavor systems. So they will try different combinations, really artfully combining everything from maskers to flavors and sweeteners to offset any potential bitter notes, to really deliver on that sort of true to fruit flavor, depending on the type of flavor experience. So it starts with that, and then we're not relying on any one person's feedback. Although we're definitely listening to everyone. And the one, Sean also flew in and tried samples, and we got a lot in common in terms of our level of detail and that seeking perfection. So he provided a lot of feedback, which I think also helped us really just zone in and made sure that we were all really comfortable. But then we go and we have our lab where we do large scale sensory evaluations. So we are gathering people, we are blinding people, comparing it to a flavor benchmark, and then looking at that, utilizing it in a really objective way before we launch. From a stability perspective, the next step is, the last thing you want is launching a product that's going to harden, right, and clump and just ruin, the overall experience. So from a quality perspective, it's not just getting, the most premium, most efficacious ingredients, but it's that overall experience, right? We want consumers to consistently be able to take this and have that that experience where it's not just clumping on them, where they can barely scoop it out. So what we did was, once we got flavor to where we were happy and thought it was just, essentially better than anything out there today, we then put it in our chamber. And we have a chamber, so we do put it on accelerated chamber, and an accelerated chamber. And what we're doing is we're looking at, and it's really shocking, so we're looking at heat. It's very extreme temperatures, essentially a stress test. And it's putting at a really high humidity as well as a really high temperature. So it's about 40 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity is 75%. So really up there. And then what we're doing is we're doing pulls, consistent pulls. So we're not just waiting, we're checking it all the time. Like, I'm literally looking at it weekly. So you got to get a lot of samples for that, but I am checking to see any impact on the hygroscopic ability, because there's so much interactions that happen between these ingredients. And we've developed since vapor and all the other pre-workouts, we've tried multiple combination ingredients, but all that goes into the product development.
That's incredible. Yeah, there's nothing more disappointing than getting excited about your pre-workout, opening it up, and then it's totally clumped up. Right. But no, this is super exciting. What I love is that as the leader in the diet pill area, when I sort of saw that there was a fat burner coming out with ingenious ingredients and their paraxanthine, I was just like, wow. Okay, so it's not just a pre-workout, but we're actually looking at other categories of products too. And a fat burner without caffeine is very exciting, very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The one insight that we got was definitely that there was a need people were looking for a fat burner and something that, to your point, didn't have caffeine, right? But that was still going to deliver on results, deliver on efficacy and safety. So I think, we're about to get that out there. And it's a first ever to market, and we're really excited. So I think, again, just that overall experience and how you feel from both the sensory experience in terms of motivation, but also how it helps body composition is something that we can't wait to see the results over time.
Now, Sean,
that
take the hit.
yeah, no, I mean that's the beauty right there too. That what Raza is talking about is, I mean, one, like long term, you're getting like these fat loss benefits, these body composition enhancements, but like it's so nice to have something that's experiential acutely, and you feel the mood lift, you feel the energy, you feel the enhanced focus, you feel like you can attack your day in a better and more productive way. Like I mean, that's win-win right there. So that's really exciting. I think this is going to be one of those products that people will get on and stay on for sure.
How long does it take for someone to feel this? I mean, obviously there's going to be genetic variability, but just the paraxanthine on its own, Sean, what have you experienced in the trenches? Because obviously a lot of this stuff looks good on paper when you just look at the molecules, and then when it comes to clinical, you obviously see a certain outcome. But then for the gym goer taking paraxanthine, how long does it take before it hits, given that, say, they're on an empty stomach?
Yeah, within 30 minutes, you start feeling it. I would say it peaks, at 60 to 90 minutes. And, it's in and out by about 4 hours. So, it's something like that. But we're seeing, because of it bypassing the metabolizer issues, and it feels so clean, that we're seeing 90+% people love it, feel it, experience it, enjoy it, have positive feedback on it across the board. Whereas, caffeine, I would say it's something like, 40 to 50%, and the effects aren't nearly as good. So, we're seeing literally probably double the amount of people notice it, and then almost everyone say it's better. So that's where we're at. This is about the evolution, what's next after caffeine. And really, I think from here, there's no looking back.
Very exciting stuff. Now, Raza, where will consumers be able to get it? Obviously, muscletech.com, they're going to be able to get their hands on it then. But GNC, I understand that they are going to be one of the ones that are getting behind this. They must be so excited about it.
You got it. Yeah. So it's gonna, to your point, muscle.com, e-commerce, like Amazon initially, and then GNC in the very near future too, as well. Yeah, I mean, whether it's online or in store, people are going to get their hands on it, and from there, we're really looking forward to people really experiencing something completely different that we think is really going to be something that from both a pre-workout as well as a weight loss experience, unlike anything they've ever felt before.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, listen, thanks so much, guys. I mean, I'm very excited about it. I've tried it, and I can firsthand say it definitely works. And I think this is going to be the biggest breakthrough that I've seen since DMAA, and I'm really proud to see that it's with Iovate and with under the MuscleTech brand. I mean, given the history and the legacy, I have to pull out, obviously, the original OG fat burner that we all used. But thank you so much for taking the time to catch up with us on paraxanthine. I really look forward to seeing what it does in the marketplace. And Sean, thanks so much for innovating and doing what you do. Obviously, for those of you who haven't seen your book, they definitely have to see that. Read your book. He's got it there. That's right. The energy formula. I have a signed copy, a few signed copies, but I really like your approach, your efficacy that you do, the way you formulate and recommend, keeping not a kitchen sink formula type of approach. And in looking at the Iovate formulas that I've seen with paraxanthine, you've kept to that model, Raza, of that Sean believes in using less ingredients, but actual efficacious doses of those ingredients. So I think that this is a great partnership to see you guys working together to create the ultimate pre-workout and fat burner. So very excited to see how it does.
Well, it's a blessing, like honestly, to work with people that are so aligned. You know, I'm really blessed to now work with Dr. Ralph Yeager, Dr. Martin Purpura, Kylan, certainly Raza and you, Scott. Like just everyone that's in my circles are just so aligned at you know, doing things the right way. And you know, it's just a massive blessing, literally. Just I couldn't be happier at where I'm at and the people that are around me that lift me up, that help me stay creative, stay on track, keep me honest. It's incredible. I truly feel blessed. So thank you so much, both of you.
Great. And then Raza, thank you so much for what you guys do, obviously with Muscle Tech and creating supplements that work. It's just great to see. And I'm so glad that you folks jumped on this ingredient and made it even better by the combination of performance enhancing ingredients that are added into the pre-workout and the fat burner. So I look forward to seeing this in the marketplace in more flavors, more sizes, more.
You got the more to come for sure. Absolutely. So, you know, big thanks for having me on here. It definitely was an honor. Love working with people that, you know, we trust, respect, and I believe we're going to reshape the industry with these products. So thanks again.
Awesome. Okay, guys, take care. Have a good day.
All right.